Hello, everyone. We're the Nervous Funny Bones, and today we'll be talking about how artificial pacemakers work and why we need them.
So to start off our presentation, we're going to talk about what exactly are pacemakers. And pacemakers are going to be these small metal devices that are battery operated with leads that connect to the heart. These will create an electrical stimulus that is artificial for the heart to start beating again at a normal rate. The main reasons why we would use these pacemakers is because of bradycardias or heart blocks. And these are also recommended if you have previously damaged SA nodes, if you had medical procedures, if you had beta blockers, if you have heart muscle problems, and if you have long QT syndromes, all which will slow down your heart rate. And when we're discussing the history of the pacemaker, all of this has started because of Albert Hyman's artificial pacemaker. It's this large device that you have to physically crank with your hand to produce an electrical signal. Then that electrical signal will go to the leads, which you will implant straight onto the heart. But now the current model of the pacemaker is a wireless pacemaker, which is the size of a quarter. Here we also have a timeline of a pacemaker, and it all started off with this AC powered pacemaker. You are not implanted into the body, but you have to wheel it around. And then we move on to around 2015, a wired pacemaker, which is the one we're going to talk about throughout the rest of our presentation, and our current model, which is the wireless free pacemaker.
So a pacemaker is composed of a battery, a pulse generator, and 1 to 3 wires called leads. The leads are inserted into the heart through the superior vena cava. At the end of each lead, there's 2 electrodes. Pacemakers utilize bipolar pacing where each lead has a positive electrode, which is an anode, and a negative electrode, which is a cathode. The electrodes detect the electrical activity through intrinsic depolarizations within the heart. If there are abnormalities in the heart rate, the electrodes will send data through the leads to the pulse generator. Then the generator will send electrical pulses back to the electrodes. Electrons flow between the anode and cathode, which depolarizes the myocardium and triggers action potentials in the heart in order to monitor and control the heart rate.
In understanding the installation of the pacemaker, it is important to understand how we expect normal functioning heartbeat. As a reminder, I would like to include the basic structure of the heart. The heart itself is made up of 2 upper chambers, the right and left atria, as well as the 2 lower chambers, the right and left ventricles. As you can see, the individual atria and ventricle counterparts are identified as 1 through 4 in the diagram. Normal heart rhythm is controlled by a natural pacemaker called the sinus node. It is located in the right atrium, marked as 1 in the diagram. Next, we have a diagram depicting the pathway of a normal heart rhythm. The sinus node generates electrical impulses that give a normal start to each heartbeat. As a result, these impulses are responsible for causing the muscles in the atria to contract and pump the blood into the ventricles. Afterwards, the electrical impulses arrive at the AV node, which then slow down the electrical signal before it is sent off to the ventricles. There is a small delay, and the ventricles are able to fill up with blood. Once the electrical impulses reach the muscles of the ventricles, they then contract and the blood is either pumped to the lungs or the rest of the body. If the heart is healthy, this process is very smooth and the resting normal heart rate is expected to be in a range from 60 to 100 beats in 1 minute. Arrhythmias are issues that arise in the heart when examining their beating pattern. Doctors can classify them by where they come from, either the atria or ventricles, as well as the speed of the heart rate. Tachycardia is referred to when the heart rhythm is too fast, and this is approximated at over 100 heartbeats per minute. Bradycardia, however, is when the heart rhythm is too slow, and this is approximated at less than 60 heartbeats per minute.
There are 3 different types of pacemakers to treat arrhythmia. The single chamber pacemaker has 1 lead that carries pulses to 1 chamber, either the right atrium or the right ventricle. The dual chamber pacemaker has 2 leads. 1 lead is in the right atrium and the other one is in the right ventricle. Electronic pulses coordinate and mimic the timing of the contractions of each chamber to simulate a normal heart rate. The third type of pacemaker is a biventricular pacemaker, also known as a cardiac resynchronization therapy device. This pacemaker has 3 leads, in the right atrium, the right ventricle, and the left ventricle. This pacemaker is usually used to treat heart failure. Electrical pulses are sent to the heart to make both ventricles pump at the same time in order to pump enough blood throughout the body.
So, before the pacemaker surgery, a doctor must first deem you fit, and they do this by doing a variety of different tests: an echocardiogram, electrogram, Holter monitoring, stress test, or a blood test. They need to deem you fit since you will be awake and under anesthetics during the 1 to 2 hour installation. Also, before the surgery, you must keep a fast. During the installation, there are two types of methods. The first method is the transvenous implantation, which is the most common. It starts with a small incision just below the collarbone. An introducer is inserted into the blood vessel, which the lead wire goes through till it reaches the correct chamber in the heart. Often an X-ray is used to help guide this. Once the correct chamber is reached, the test wire is tested to verify the location and then lodged into the heart tissue. The same incision is used for the pacemaker generator, and the lead wire is attached to that. Then the ECG and pacemaker function is double checked. Once everything is clear, the doctor closes the skin incision. The second method is called epicardial implantation, and it is used a lot less frequently. It's mostly in children and people with other forms of heart surgery taking place at the same time. This is where the tip of the lead wire is attached to your heart directly, and the other one is attached to the pacemaker generator, and the pacemaker is located in the abdomen. After surgery, you can either go home in the evening or stay the night. Either way, the doctors will make sure your pacemaker is working perfectly. And then for 1 month after surgery, you want to avoid any sort of exercise or strain on your heart. A permanent aspect of having the pacemaker is hooking it up to an app that transfers all data to the doctor. Lastly, the insertion site needs to be clean and dry like this image to help keep infections from occurring. Thank you very much for listening to our presentation.